Okay, hello everyone. My name is Andreas Diaz. Me and Will are back again for another spectacular Marvel Plus talk. Of course, this week, oh god, I almost forgot. Anyway, this week, of course, we're gonna do the Black Panther spoiler cast. Of course, me and Will had a chance to see Black Panther, right? Uh,
Yeah.
okay,
hmm
cool. Did you see it twice, or this is your one viewing?
just
Uh,
once.
okay, same here. So I saw it like 2 weeks when that movie came out on this first week. But yeah, so yeah, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, of course, directed by again Ryan Coogler. Of course, we got the main cast come back. Of course, except with Chadwick Boseman, of course, who
hmm
unfortunately passed away 2 years, which is oh man, it felt like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
And yeah, during the pandemic, which oh god, that was probably the worst first year of the pandemic. Um, but yeah, so uh, as we do with spoilercast, just if you haven't seen the movie, stop, go back, watch the film first, and listen to this podcast because me and Will are gonna pretty much spoil everything about this film. And as always, uh, just gonna be a very open discussion about the film. Don't judge us. I know there's a lot of mixed opinions about this film, but anyway, let's go ahead. Will, what's your thoughts on the film? What what was the best thing about the film, and what was the worst thing? And go ahead. What's
All
your
right.
overall
I
opinion?
really enjoyed this movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it wasn't perfect, but there were a lot of things that I thought worked really well. Especially Namor. I think he was my highlight.
Yes.
Um, and just uh, Talokan as a replacement for Atlantis, I thought was just an incredibly interesting take on the character that I thought kind of actually improved on the comic origin of the character.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, no, I loved making him like Mesoamerican, and I thought the performance was really good. I thought his characterization was exactly what I would want for Namor.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just absolutely loved everything about Namor in this movie.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll get into my thoughts, I guess. So,
Uh-huh.
any worst thing that was like a nitpick for you for the film that didn't work?
Um,
Um.
I didn't like that just everyone is Iron Man now.
Oh, okay.
like,
Ye- okay. Okay.
uh, I'm fine with it for Riri Williams because it's she's actually supposed to be that way. Although I didn't love the design of the Ironheart suit,
No
but it was weird that they gave the Dora Milaje
suits.
the suits, and
Yeah.
they were ugly.
Oh my God.
Okoye
Yeah.
was right. I was like,
y-
stop
Yeah.
commenting on how ugly the suits are because they're very ugly, and we know you're just gonna go with it anyway.
Yeah. They actually did that, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah. Yeah. We'll get to that because I mean, I just think it's just a one-time thing.
I
I
hope
mean,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, I I think there's still improvements for William's suit in the future. Because he hasn't
hmm
yet had the other suit we saw in the comics. The more Iron Man kind of look to it.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
sure for her show, she'll get something that looks more like her comic book suit.
yeah, I agreed. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll discuss that. I do have mixed feelings on that one. Um, yeah, I agree with you, Will. I mean, I really enjoyed this film. I was very surprised. I really dug the tribute to Chadwick Boseman. I think the film handled it very well,
hmm
which I was very confident on that. I think they really loved Chadwick and they put all their efforts to it. Um, I guess for me, the best thing about this was Angela Bassett
Mm.
as the mother. Like,
Yeah. Her
oh my,
performance was incredible.
Yeah, it was so amazing. She was the best thing about the film for me. And
Mhm.
honestly, warning, she dies in this film. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Like, I was just shocked that they went there after, losing, the T'Challa in this film, and then we're gonna lose yet another member. Is just not what I was expecting, and so it made the stakes much higher for Sherry, and just her role
Hmm.
becoming into the Black Panther was, I think, all earned, and I think it really worked in that. Um, I guess so. I really enjoyed this. I don't think it's the best 2020 superhero film. I still think it is the Batman. I think it's still number one for me.
Okay.
Um, it's just because the Batman hit everything. Like, it was focused. It gave you everything when you want. It was top notch in terms of quality and production design, just like this film is, which I'm not dogging at. But um, I will say what put this down to just number two for me is just it's I disagree, but I agree with the critics saying that it's a mess. But it's not a mess, as I think people are saying. I just think there's just a lot of plot points and characters we're juggling in the film, and it's like you don't have the main protagonist, unfortunately, and so we're just in this desperate area of, like, okay, we're following Sherry, and then we're
Hmm.
following the mother, and then we're following, Namor and his people, and then we have this random plot line of freaking Ross and his ex-wife Val now, which is
Hmm.
weird, which is totally unnecessary, and then you got this Williams being introduced, which I like until we get the motivation of Namor, and then it just she became just not like pointless, but like she became unnecessary
Yeah.
after that point. So I don't think this film really juggles all that, like, not bad, but not as efficient or as focused as I think they are trying to do. You know. So that's my gripe with this film. It's just all over the place with this its story arcs and all that. So um,
Yeah. I can agree with that. Like there were a lot of plot lines that could have been cut. Um, 'Cause they
yeah,
didn't necessarily contribute to like the overall story that was being told. But like while I was watching the movie, I wasn't like,
yeah. I
oh
was like you.
man, where yeah, I wasn't like, like why are we doing this? I was just enjoying it, and then
Yeah,
afterwards, I was like, a lot of that didn't need to be there. But
yeah,
it wasn't like it didn't detract from my experience of the movie. I was like, it was long, but I was never sitting there like thinking about how long the movie was. Like it didn't
no,
feel long while I was in it.
yeah. Yeah, that was the impressive part for me. Was
Hmm.
like I didn't like feel it was like that long as many people were complaining about. Like I disagree with people with the Batman and this film's running time. I think because they're attracting me about the themes and the character arcs that our characters are going. So I don't pay attention to the time and all that because I'm engrossed to the story they're telling.
Hmm.
So something like Doctor Strange 2, or Thor: Love and Thunder, or Black Adam this year, where they have so much going on, and then they're not being careful with their character arcs, and that's where I question the time. You know.
Hmm. Yeah.
So and the reason I'm bringing that up because I was very shocked about the way of characters that we love from the first film. That just I was expecting more from their characters. Like, we'll get into this, but like my biggest gripe is just we underutilize the characters we like from Black Panther in the first film, and then the ones we saw in the Avengers movies, like M'Baku
Nabaku.
and Okoye.
Yeah.
Like, I, I we'll get into that, but like that was I was very shocked because I was talking to my best friend when we were
Hmm.
driving back to my home, and he was shocked that like Winston Duke didn't get much to do, but like he's amazing in this film. Like,
Yeah. No,
it's
I
just
definitely wanted more Mabaku. Um,
yeah,
as I left the theater. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So so there's a lot to talk about that.
Yeah.
But okay, so I to like piggyback, I really enjoyed the opening. I was so happy they brought back the Chadwick
Hmm.
multiple frames in the Marvel Studios logo. Because they did that when he actually passed away in 2020, and like they did it that one day in in the Disney Plus, and I love they brought it back. Did
Hmm.
you audience were silent when that popped up in the screen?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I wasn't expecting that. Like my whole audience were quiet as well.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
no
Everyone
cheer.
felt. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was just I never in my life saw that like a response like compared to what Endgame. Like oh my god. So yeah. So oh my god. So um one thing I would say I was very happy that in the film, we didn't know what they were gonna do with T'Challa, and I appreciate that his death was just like Boseman, but not like confirmed illness. We knew that he died of illness, and I really appreciate that the filmmakers did that, and I really like that. It goes well with what Sherry was doing in the film, how all the technical achievements that Wakanda has, all the advanced technology and medicine in their disposal, they were unable to save, their king. And I really like how that really affects Shuri as a character and like what like affects her mind as a Wakandan,
Hmm.
especially her werewolf, because we saw that a little bit in the first film of her like not into tradition, the excuse me, like the African Wakanda tradition that her brother and the family has exposed to their bloodline, with the herbs and the astral planes, where she doesn't believe that. Like she's very much like the Tony Stark of things. Like she
Hmm.
thinks of scientific reasons that is realistic. Like like all that was really intriguing. And what do you think? Like you really think them handle the child's death was good, and do you think it actually did a really good job of pushing Sherry's arc to where it should be in this film when we're following her?
Yeah, I definitely think they handled it really well. Like you felt the gravity of the death,
Hmm.
and they were very respectful in how they presented it, and you could feel the impact that it had on each character,
Yeah.
and you felt the absence of T'Challa, but at the same time they didn't dwell in it for longer than they needed to. Like it didn't feel like it was
Hmm.
bogged down.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought they were able to strike a really good balance of being respectful, without sacrificing the plot of the movie.
Yeah. I was shocked about that.
Hmm.
Because like you know that when you have a cast member die, it sometimes like you can feel that sometimes like in Dark Knight Rises, like it's very odd not to have a mention of the Joker,
Hmm.
but like you respect what they're doing,
Hmm.
and like like the Fast and Furious, like after Fast 7, like we always get a mention of Brian, the character of Paul Walker, and like it was funny to see was it the recent film F9, like we don't see the character, but like we see his car he always drives. I don't, oh my god, I know what he drives in that car. It was um Mercedes or something like that. The blue car, and so that's Brian. And it's like here, I really believe what was going on because, like, you know, I don't know where they couldn't take T'Challa's character, but like I think here it felt like a very logical conclusion to where we could take a sequel to Black Panther.
Hmm.
Like what if like what's the implication when you don't have a king in the throne? Like what it's going to be like. And then we see it, with every country wants the piece of, vibranium, and and then the mother, of course, trying to protect the country and try to, you know, um, not let all these, outsiders take their prized possession.
Hmm.
And I feel like all of that makes sense to take in the sequel, with or without T'Challa. So I was very impressed with that.
Hmm.
Um, uh, and this is where I think what made this film really great for me is that, thank goodness, the humor wasn't too bad.
Hmm.
Like, because this year I think humor has been the biggest problem in the superhero films.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Doctor Strange, and then Thor, and then Black Adam. I saw recently, and that had some issues with that. Here,
Hmm.
thank goodness, the humor was just dry, which is good, and then it at least let the serious moments breathe, which is good.
Yeah, yeah. The humor worked for the most part.
Yeah. Um,
I don't remember any specific instances, but I think there were some lines with Riri Williams that didn't land for me.
oh,
But
I
I
mean,
don't remember.
my favorite part was the running gag where Sherry, like, Koi thinks that she doesn't look good, and
Yeah,
and Sherry just
that
say
was good.
no. Yeah, like that was my favorite gag from her, and then of
Hmm.
course her coming out from the bathroom because she knows that Williams is going to escape from there,
Hmm.
which is obvious. And I mean, oh my god, that's what I mean. Under the Ice, like, Okoye was very funny in
Hmm.
this film, and I just love it. I mean, she was funny in the first film when
Yeah.
she has to be, but here it was just like perfect. And I really dug her interaction with Sherry. Like, I really want to see more of that.
Hmm.
Like, I just really dug their, like, chemistry, and just like how different they are. Like, she has a different way of interacting with, her brother when we saw them together. Here, I
Hmm.
like this because, she's the smart one, and then she's like the muscle,
Hmm. Yeah.
and it's just refreshing. Um, but yeah, another funny one was in. I don't know if your fears were like in shock if he was going to die. I really thought they were going to kill M'Baku, and when he attacked Namor, when he was
Uh-huh.
in the Wakanda, and then he does the super punch to his
Hmm.
to M'Baku's chest, and I was like, no, and then M'Baku had the reaction of like, oh my god,
Yeah.
he's alive. That was a great payoff gag. I will say, like, oh my god. And then Namor, he's funny. Namor is very funny. Did
Hmm.
you? I laughed out loud when he explained to Sherry that you're gonna die in the water without, pressure, and then you're gonna be affected. And then
Hmm.
he does this switch that was so cool. Or you can take the water suit we have. Like, that was funny. That was my Oh my god, that was so funny and
Hmm.
hilarious. So, oh my god, it's great. Um, let's talk about Namor, because he's like the new big character that we have.
Hmm.
And as you said before, Namor, or Will. Oh god. Um, I agree with you. I really like the changes to Namor's background. I really
Hmm.
appreciate the change to Atlantis, to the what do you call it, the Tanke
Telecon, I think.
Telecon. I think it was a really good update, and like it really fit to what, like, his, like, instead of making it Atlantis, I like how this, like, was their Pacific, like, world, just like
Hmm.
Wakanda, like,
Yeah.
Pacifically. And I really dug that. And more so, I like how we integrate the mutant thing. Like, when he say, I'm my what is it, like I'm the like unique person in my kind, like I'm a mutant.
Hmm.
Like, I was shocked that we say mutant right away. And
Yeah, this is the first time that.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
first time movie, but
Well, they said mutation in Miss Marvel, but they haven't
yeah,
said
yeah,
mutant yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and, I really dug that because as famously, in Marvel, like him or Apocalypse, it was always like the first mutant,
Hmm.
like being chronicle in the history of Marvel. So it was cool to see Namor has that. Yeah, and I like how cool that we give his people with the weapons like that waddle. Like I I can't believe they made me take serious with water bombs. Like they were I never seen that in my life, and
Hmm.
they pull it off, and and then the wings in his feet, like
Yeah,
I.
that could have been so goofy and stupid, and they still
Hmm.
made it look. They didn't just make it look okay; they made it look cool.
Yeah, it's just
Oh
oh
man.
my, yeah, I like props to Ryan Coogler. Like Ryan did such a good job with the first film, but here he did such a good job with Namor and this other thing in Marvel, and like it's like now I want him to do Doctor Doom because I like trust him, you know,
Hmm.
like he made the best villain like for Killmonger, and then he actually did it again with Namor um as the best villain. Um, I'm very impressed, and I really got into what Namor was facing. Like he's trying to protect his people, just like
Hmm.
how the Queen is trying to protect Wakanda as well.
Hmm.
You know, from the surfer sweaters, whatever you call it. Uh, the humans,
Hmm.
and you understood the motivation compared to other MCU villains, and I think this one was just top notch. And um, I will say, if you want to nitpick about Namor's motivation, like okay, like I get Rhea Williams made this vibranium machine, and then we get this twist that he's after the surface whales. Okay, like I don't think you need that, but it didn't detract to me. Like I knew
Well.
that motivation was going to come up some point. Well, what do
Hmm.
you think? What do you think? Do you think it was unnecessary to do like that kind of twist of like he had a much grander plan as we were thinking?
Well, I don't think he necessarily had like a grander plan. I think initially he was going after Williams just
Right.
because she was like the one who could invent the thing that would find vibranium. But then, like as time went on, he just was thinking like, if she isn't the one to make that machine, like someone else will. Like they're not gonna stop coming for us.
Yeah.
So at that point, he's just like, if I want my like people and my way of life to survive, I'm gonna have to like fight for it.
Yeah.
And
Um.
that's when it becomes Talokan against the surface world.
Yeah. It's like the same thing with Magneto. Like it's similar to X-Men First Class when when he talks to Charles about like when they're going to be exposed, the humans will turn against them because
Mm-hmm.
just how different they are.
Right.
And then of course in the end with the Cuban Missile Crisis, like it happens, because what they saw is like, okay, we need to stop them all, because of an order they got received from the government. And of course Magneto stops the missiles, and it's the same thing here. Namor has the same, not the same like Magneto,
It's
but like
it's
what do
yeah,
you call it?
it's
Like
similar. Instead of being a metaphor for like discrimination, it's
yeah,
colonialism. But yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah, and which is the main thing with the Black Panther films.
right.
Uh,
Exactly. It fit really well thematically.
yeah, and so I think like you understand what Namor was really aiming for, and I what was it? I'm just interested in that because I know people were kind of like, okay, so why do we like because it's like I mean because there's other scientists, and well also the government has alien technology in disposal, so like they could easily create that machine without Williams. So
Maybe it sounded like they weren't
yeah,
able to detect vibranium specifically.
yeah,
So
that's the true.
yeah, it was definitely just a plot device, but
Yeah.
it
Uh,
worked.
yeah. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. My point. So I get we're expanding the universe, and this one was very impressive. I believe how Newmar and his people were not discovered.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
in plain sight, and like where compared to the internals, where it's like okay, like what, like because I never believe the reason why they were not like I get they cannot interfere human events
Hmm.
as we uh, get information from the movie, but like I never really trust that, and like it was so unbelievable of the Eternals not being seen or heard of, and then of course at the end of the movie you got this giant celestial body coming out in the oceans, like which we never get a mention of in any of these things.
Right.
Here, yeah, here I was very impressed. Like we have yet again another secret society we did not know of, and this is the better ones I seen, and compared to the other things we've seen so far in Phase 4.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
y- you
It
know,
makes more sense for like us to not know about something under the ocean because we don't know a lot about what's down there.
I mean that's true, but
Versus like the Eternals, like they're just living in the open.
yeah,
There should be some record of them.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah,
Oh my god,
with
yeah.
is it what was the name of the one in Shang
Um,
Chi?
Talo, yeah.
Okay,
Um,
that one I get too because there's like magical
oh
extra
yeah,
dimensional stuff going on. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That one is good too. Yeah. Oh man, it's been like I seen that movie twice, and I can't believe I forgot about that one. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of secret like societies or like worlds we
hmm,
haven't heard of, and it's funny we're like the TVA is like that in
yeah,
Loki. It's very funny. Um, I will say I agree with this complaint. Um, just like I will probably see Neomore and his people again in the
hmm,
future.
yeah. I hope so.
I I mean he has to get his own solo film. I think
I
that's
I would love that. I
yeah,
I wanted to spend more time in Talocon because
yes, that was my complaint. Yep,
yeah,
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, yeah. I was shocked we never spent time there,
hmm,
but I mean we got you know
we got a little bit, but it was hard
you
to
know
do it from Shuri's perspective because she's like in that suit the whole time. So there's like, she
interesting.
can't be there for that long. But I would love to have just like Namor swimming around the streets so we can see more about like the culture and the technology.
I know.
Um,
Oh my god, I was so like enthralled
hmm,
about that scene with you know with Tanakon,
hmm,
and I was like, oh my god, I really want to be there. Like same thing with Aquaman when I saw Atlantis, I was like, oh wow, this is cool
hmm.
and impressive, and I was just shocked that we didn't spend too much time. Like we just see a wide shot, and then we're just in like close rooms, and like we see your Nimor's throne, and it's like,
Hmm.
I want to see more
Yeah.
of that.
I
You
mean,
know?
it's got to be really expensive. I'm sure that's the reason.
Oh, I mean, yeah,
Like
that's yeah. I mean,
filming like something that is either underwater or looks like it's underwater is going to be
yeah.
just
I know that. I mean, but
yeah.
it's well, actually, I will say, I want to bring up something with the first film. With the criticism with the first one with the effects, I think that Marvel and Disney spent a lot of money on the effects in this film,
Yeah,
and they
they're
look way better than the
yes, they
first film.
do. Yeah,
So yeah, I I felt like the final battle for this film was way better than the first film. Um,
special effects wise,
yeah,
yes,
special effect wise, yeah. I don't hate the third act with the first film. I actually enjoy it compared to others.
it's
I
good. It's just ugly.
Yeah, exactly. It's really muddy. Um, I mean, at least here you can see things and like I don't know, like it's like
Yeah,
real, you know.
yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. I had the opposite problem with this one, where like the fight itself wasn't that great, but it looked good. I
yeah,
liked Shuri versus Namor. That looked fine. That was fine.
yeah.
Um, but
Um,
the battle on the ship made no sense.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, yeah. Same thing with really the action here. Like I like besides Okoye versus that whole like the con soldier,
Hmm.
like a lot of the action is just very typical action you see in movies,
Hmm.
you know? And this, like yes, effects wise better, it's still messy. Like it still has this phase 4 problem of like we need to have this big spectacular battle for
Hmm.
some reason, which we don't need.
Right.
It's like why? I like yeah, you're right, Will. Like the battle of Sherry and Nemor was the thing I wanted to follow the most, and then we need to intercut this and the boat, and it's like why we're in a boat?
Yeah. No,
Like
their plan made no sense.
yeah.
Like,
Oh my
just
god.
he said he was gonna come to you. Why would you leave your home turf to go like put all of your people on one boat in the ocean, which is where the fish people are?
Yeah.
Like,
People.
like you're
Yeah.
going to their home turf to fight
y-
a boat where you have like no strategic advantage. Fight on a boat where you have no strategic advantage.
Yeah. And like I I blame Sherry for this. Like I get Sherry is full of rage, but like she's like she should know that they also have vibranium technology as well, and so
Right.
they're also superior too.
She's literally the only person who knows like what they're capable of because she's seen their city.
Oh, that's true. Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
Oh my god. Yeah, yeah. Oh my god. Um. Yeah. Let's discuss the whole thing. Like you brought up the suits.
Hmm.
Um. Just like the Hulk dogs, I did not know this was from the comics as well. These blue suits that Shuri built for them.
Hmm.
Like so. Um. Look, when you have the worst idea from a comic book, don't even attempt to adapt it. And I don't understand why the Black Panther crew did this. I. I mean, I'll take this over the Hulk dogs, but I mean,
Hmm.
again, I I agree with Okoye. It's ugly, and then I also agree with you, Will. Why are you being like? Why your meta commentary this? Like
Yeah, it's like
I,
they knew that it was bad.
yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, it's just so bad. Yeah. I think it was just that one time for this battle, hopefully, and then that's it. You know.
Hmm.
Um. And well, let's discuss designs. Like, um, I let's discuss the new Black Panther suit.
Hmm.
What's your opinion on it? I like it. I don't I don't have a problem with the new suit that Sherry built.
Yeah,
Um,
it was fine.
yeah, I mean,
That was an interesting choice to have like the gold accents like Killmongers.
yes, yeah, which
Um,
which was kind of obvious, which is cool.
mhm.
I like gold. I mean, I mean, Black Panther had gold in the comics, so I dug
Yeah,
it.
it makes sense. It's just
Yeah, you know. But I also agree with T'Challa in the first film. It's like I'm trying to be stealth, so I will say it's like a little too noticeable. But I mean, whatever. I really dug that he incorporate that sonic boom uh, weapon that she had in the first film and
hmm
into her suit. That was cool. Um, I mean, I kind of wish I want to see Black Panther with a cape. That's something I want in live action. You know, I want Black Panther to wear a cape, just like in the comics, and that will make my day.
maybe one day.
Yo, one day. Oh God. Uh, I mean, it's a good suit. I can understand it's overly designed, like, but I mean, at least I can like actually see the costume, and it's actually a costume compared to other suits. Like, this is not as bad as like the Love and Thunder suits. I I would say like the costume designer Ruth Nega, that's her name. Her first
That's
name
an
is
actress.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, Agents of Shield actress. Uh, yeah, you know. But the costume designer first name is Ruth. I will stand that. That's her name. Her first name is Ruth. She did a spectacular job this time around. The costumes are like top notch. Uh, like the Wakanda suit, like wardrobe and all that, like amazing. The Tanakan people's like wardrobe they have is like amazing. Like Nemo's costume is like comic accurate but slash unique, and I just love it. Like
hmm
I can't believe he's still like he's wearing his green pants, and it's like oh my god, like oh my god, it's so amazing. Um, Not so great. It's just the like Iron Man suits, and it's like, I just like why, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's just like oh my god. Yeah, yeah. So suits amazing. I mean, costume design's amazing. Just the suits are awful. So, excuse me. So okay, well, uh, what discussions you want to go now with this movie? What we haven't discussed yet. I mean, there's a lot I was not like expecting.
Mm.
Um, let's see. I, I mean, the Michael B. Jordan cameo. We can,
Yeah,
you
that
know,
was a
this.
surprise.
Yeah. Okay. So, you brought up the suit that has like the gold like banner that's like similar to Killmonger. Uh, I was very impressed that we got back Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, and that scene was great. Like
hmm
it still kills me that we don't have Killmonger alive, but I really appreciate this cameo, and like it was a great cameo, like one of the best cameos for a character that we love and come back, and it's just like he had great lines, and the scene itself with the throne room, and it starting to like flame like
hmm
outside in the water is like so beautiful shot, and like just Sherry talking to him was just like hunting, and like and then it just really sets up what we're going to see Sherry going to do throughout the final act for her to like not to go to the Killmonger way, and I
hmm
mean I was just so enthralled with that cameo, and just like it really fit to what was going on thematically and where Shuri is going after this point of the astral planes, you know.
hmm
And it gave us the best gag when she came out. It was like it didn't work, and she punched something, and like she did the super punch, and it was
hmm
funny. Yeah. What do you think about the cameo? It's amazing. I just love Michael B. Jordan as actor. So
Yeah, no, like I said, it was surprising, and I thought it worked really well for the for Shuri's arc
yeah,
to have him show up and kind of
yeah,
have her
and
look in the mirror.
yeah, and like putting down Shuri's like belief down more.
hmm
Like this really like put her down of her like just not believing this traditions and all that. and I really appreciate towards the end, um, with the ending where she's like started to like compare to her homeland to the Takan
Hmm.
people, and like they're not like like it was literally like the Batman v Superman Marvel scene, but without saying it, like like she realized that they're actually the same people with the same agenda and a situation,
Hmm.
you know. And I really appreciate the visual language that they like display, and like and making her to realize that she can not really go here, you know.
Hmm.
um that's what I call really good filmmaking, of visually telling your audience what's going on without saying anything in that moment, which was great. So I give props to Ryan Coogler for that. um and speaking of, you know, filmmaking, I guess uh getting into, let's get into now with the nitpicks and complaints.
Okay.
um because we brought up the surprise with Michael B. Jordan. I wanted to get this before we discuss the Queen's death. I, I like Ross as the character, and I understand he's from the first film, and like I do dug the running gag that he owes Sherry, because you know Sherry saved his life.
Hmm.
Um, I don't need him in this film with the reveal that Val was his ex-wife, and like because we're talking in general, the, you know, the geographic situation, or the colonist situation with, you know, Wakanda and all that. And
Hmm.
it's like we have this, you know, subplot of, you know, Ross giving tips, and then you have this Val here, you know, being, you know, being sleazy as we see her in her appearance. And it's like I really don't think we need Val here or Ross here in this movie, despite just how integral they are in the MCU.
Hmm.
And they didn't even set up anything in the future. Like we did like we didn't set up anything for Thunderbolts. I mean, if
Well,
I mean, it,
I think it was setting up something for Secret Invasion.
I I guess, well, even that I have to disagree. Like I don't know like what we did for Segregation, because I
Yeah,
mean,
well, I'm not saying that what they did was good. I
yeah,
think that is why they were in the movie. Um,
yeah, I
but
I
yeah, no, I agree. When I said there were storylines that could have been cut, that was top of mind. That was
yeah,
definitely the one that did not need to be in the movie. Again, like I enjoyed it. Like I wasn't thinking as I was watching the movie, like, why is this here? This doesn't need to be here. But definitely when I left, I was like, that didn't really add to the plot at all.
yeah, like
That
when
could have been cut, and then it would have been not 2.5 hours long.
yeah, it was just so weird. Like we had the scene where Ross Val is talking to one of the president's right hand secretary or something like that
Hmm.
about the current situation. And then, you know, Ross mentioned how there's maybe another like group in this conflict, and like I like that scene. That makes sense.
Right.
But I don't need the scene with, you know, they're, you know, walking together and talking, and, you know, revealing these personal things which I don't care, you know,
Hmm.
like
Right.
um you know, and you know, yeah, I just thought like it just I don't know, like like and especially with Val, like she's like phase one Nick Fury. Like every time Nick Fury showed up, I was like, oh, okay, like you're here. I get you're doing the Avengers. I get it.
Right.
It's just I don't know. So I just felt like that was just not worth. Like it wasn't worth using, because like it just took away so many characters that like I really wanted to see to be developed or
Hmm.
get more to do. You know,
Hmm.
and like I was shocked that we got three characters that I like. I mean, two that's breakout stars with Sherry, and then you got one that didn't get much to do in the Avenger films because she wasn't there, and then here she's just barely in the film. Well, but she's supporting in the film as well.
Hmm.
Like I was just shocked that the Kia,
Hmm.
um, like I was just shocked that we get her introduced halfway in the film, and it's like what? Like really? Like
Yeah.
I mean
They
I get
explain it at the end of the movie, but
yeah I get it that like at least her reason is more excusable, but I just felt like there should have been more with Nakia because I love Nakia and she was great
yeah,
in this
she's
film.
great. Yeah.
And yeah, and another surprise as well in this film with Nakia. But yeah, I was shocked about that, but at least I can understand that part. But the Baku and Okoye thing was really bothering me because
Hmm.
I was like, like I mean, Mbaku has nothing. I mean, he's more wise than the
Right.
first film,
Hmm.
but I wish we had more time to develop that. And like,
Me too.
because I really like his relationship with Shuri
Hmm.
in this film. Like when he had to talk to her in the mom's funeral. Like I really like that scene, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful. You know, and then
Hmm.
and he was right in the second time we see him in his village, and where Sherry says we're gonna go on war, and then I love that Mbaku tells her if you start a war with them, it's gonna escalate, you know, to
Hmm.
even bigger war, and he was right. And it's just I was very surprised how little he gets, but like, I mean, this is the testament of Winston Duke's performance. Like he is great, and like I remember his scenes. So
Hmm.
he stood out with the minimal things he had to do is just incredible as a performer.
Hmm.
So and he's still funny. I love how he when he talks to the Wakanda council or the other members about how he was explaining Nemours like history, and
Hmm.
it's like how you one of them questions like how you know this? What we read a book, we read books. We're not savages. I really just oh my god, Winston Dukes is great,
Hmm.
and Okoye, as I mentioned before, I mean Okoye is amazing. I really love the actress. She's giving her all in this movie. I mean her being fire is like the most devastating fire I ever seen in my cinema viewing. Like what the hell? Like
Oh, I
I
love that scene.
I I mean I
I,
was
they were both making great points.
yeah, I know that,
Like,
and that was
it was so good.
yeah, it's like like she was doing her duty.
Right, but
Like
she failed spectacularly twice, and now both
yeah,
of the queen's kids are presumed dead. Like,
for the third time, fourth time.
right, like, oh,
Yeah. Oh
so
man.
good,
Oh my god.
so good,
That's
and just those.
yeah. It's oh my god. It was speechless. Like I saw it in the trailer. I was like where is it? And then when it came, I was like, oh, we're getting it. And I wasn't like I thought she was like talking to the chancellor, like the United States, uh, the nation. But
Mm,
I wasn't expecting she was talking to Okoye, and it's just like, oh my god, this is just, oh my god, please no.
hmm. Hmm.
And oh my god, it was just oh my god, Angela Bassett, like she needs to win an Oscar this year. Like she needs to. Like she was, like she like carried this film after she died in the film, and it's like, oh my god, it's like, oh my god, she was top notch.
Hmm.
Angela Bassett is just amazing, and I still wish she'd be Storm. Like her white hair drove me nuts. Um, but yeah, like oh my god, that scene, and then her Rexine Williams is like when we got to the moment when she died, like
Hmm.
like when they were trying to resurrect the two characters, I was like, okay, William's safe. And then when the mother wasn't breathing, I was like, oh no, they're not doing it, are they? And then yeah, and when Nemar starts talking, I was like, yeah, she's dead.
Hmm.
I cannot believe it. I'm going to be sad to lose the queen, but yeah, it's one of the best MCU deaths I've seen
Hmm.
since Yondu death in Guardians 2.
Aunt May.
Oh
Aunt May
yeah,
got me.
Emmy. Yeah, I guess so. Uh, I mean, I don't know. Like, Yanyu got me when he say, he wasn't your dad.
Hmm.
So that kills me, even more. Anyway, we'll do a top 10 death ranking one day, and we will defend our choices. But yeah, the death was totally unexpected. One of the general surprises I wasn't expecting.
Hmm.
Besides
Hmm.
the Michael B. Jordan one, and then the one in the mid credit scene. But yeah, her death was so sad, and I thought Sherry, Lolita Wright, like she was great in that scene, and I was just so sorry for Sherry at that
Hmm.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Um. Okay. We haven't discussed Williams, Riri Williams.
Hmm.
Let's kind of get into that character. Um. I seen this actress. Did you seen this movie called Judas and the Black Messiah by any chance?
Oh, I did. I
Okay.
didn't know. I didn't realize she was in that.
Okay, she's one of the Black Panther members.
Hmm.
She's with ironically Daniel Kula, uh,
Right.
uh, yeah, my hand woman. Uh, yeah, she was in that movie. I was very impressed with her there, and I was very hooked on the character when we see her. I think Dominique, Dominique, what's her
Thorne.
last? Thorne. Thank. Oh my God, Dominique Thorne. I think was incredible in this film. I am actually more excited with her show coming soon next year. Um, Despite the plot convenience and the questionable device of this film, I don't think she was the worst thing. She was the best thing. I really like her. She, again, just like the other characters, I wish we did more of in the film.
Hmm.
Like, I really like her interaction with Shuri, and I wish we had more of that. So I don't know what's your opinion on the character, but I think this was a, a decent introduction. Like, it's not as bad as Black Widow and Iron Man 2, or it's not as great as Spider-Man's in Civil War, but I think this was a good middle part in introducing a new character in the MCU.
Yeah. No, I thought it was all right. Um,
Okay.
yeah. We'll see when we get to see more of her next year. But
Yeah. Huh, my God, next year. It's right in the corner.
hmm.
But yeah, and then her suits was you know not the best, but I mean they're Mark 1 and Mark 2, so
Yeah, I don't know. The Mark II just looked like something out of like an anime.
yeah.
It
It
just looked weird.
Well, I mean, like, I mean, I'll, I mean, it reminds me a lot of like Power Rangers. I know you have that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Volt. I Yeah. Oh my God, it's funny that you mentioned anime because when the Talcon people have their like what is it hand like gestures they do, like kind of like how the Wakanda
Hmm.
arm cross, and it's like, is that is literally like Dragon Ball Z. You know how Duke
Oh, yeah,
they do the Comic Con Han, like
yeah.
I loved, like I didn't know that was actually a thing, and apparently this article mentioned that Latinos like anime. I'm like, really? I mean, I don't know. It's just it's funny that that's yet again we have another anime
Wait, that
influence.
that who liked anime?
Latinos apparently. Like,
Oh,
I mean, yeah, like,
okay. I
yeah, yeah,
misheard you. Okay.
yeah. I'm sorry. Because because the Tolkien people are a mix of Mexican and what's the other half? Or
Oh,
Portuguese or something like that. I
they're Mayan.
Maya, right? So so it kind of makes sense. And the same thing with Killmonger. His suit is literally
Yeah. I know Michael B. Jordan loves anime.
yeah. Yeah, it's funny these series are paying homage to anime.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, that Mark II was just not good. Like, it reminded me of like Buzz Lightyear's first design. If you've seen the first test of Toy Story, where he had this red scheme, and before
Hmm.
we get the classic Buzz Lightyear green
Yeah.
and white,
Green and purple, yeah.
Yeah,
And like,
green purple. What?
yeah, he has purple highlights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Anyway, speaking of Toy Stories, so yeah, this was just like, oh my god, random blues. Can we try something else? Like, it could have been cool to have a black and gold Iron Man suit. I mean, like, I always want to see that in the live action Iron Man films. So,
Hmm.
so yeah, yeah. Um, so we're coming in an hour. What's other things we have to discuss? That we haven't mentioned. Uh, that was what was the other surprise? Uh,
Um,
I
so
mean,
we haven't talked about the post credit scene yet.
yeah, or
That
mid
was a
credits.
surprise. Right,
Yeah,
mid credits. I
yeah,
don't know
the
if you wanted
kid.
to end on that. Oh, Lake Bell. That was a surprise.
Oh yeah, Lake Bill. Like, she's a great actress.
She shows up, and I'm like, is that Lake Bell? And then by the time I like figure it out, she's dead.
Yeah, like she voiced Poison Ivy. I like her in Harley Quinn, and she's a I like this is like she could have been a great addition to MCU. Like, oh
Yeah,
my
I
god,
mean,
I
she's the
was.
voice of Black Widow in What If.
Oh yes, I forgot. Oh, okay, that's okay. I forgot about that. Yeah, but she's my favorite Poison Ivy
Mm.
version. So
Yeah, I
I
really
just
like that Harley Quinn TV show.
yeah, I was very surprised of Lake Bell. I was surprised that this other actor that's from Law and Order SVU, Chris, my friend Chris brought that up. I was like, oh yeah, that's the douchey FBI guy that's just like he's like the internal affairs guy
Mm.
in SVU. Yeah. Well, what was there was other cameos that I was kind of surprised we saw in this film. Hold on, let me put my notes here, cause besides Michael B. Jordan, I think we also got um. Uh, oh no, there's no surprise. Because there's one actor, Richard Skiff, who's like in the West Wing.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
he's one of the United States person that we see. He was with the room with Ross and Val. Like he's a famous actor. He was in The Lost World. Uh,
Okay.
so yeah. But yeah. I'm trying to think who else. Oh, uh, briefly. Let's before we mention the can to wrap this podcast up because I think we got everything in what we're discussing. I will say we got introduced with new Wakandans, especially with the was it the Dilamina
Dora Milaje.
they did yeah that thank you
Yeah.
I oh my god twist tongue we got introduced with one of them in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we got
Mm.
this new one because she's is a well-known actress as well, and she's like new for this film, and I was just shocked that we did not deal with them, like, and they're like a couple, and then it's like
Hmm.
this one I mean underutilized. Like I cannot believe they underutilized
Yeah,
these.
they were
Like
barely in it,
it's
but I
like
know they're like pretty major characters in the comics. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I just
And like the recent comics from
uh in what is it?
one of them,
Yeah, 26.
Ta-Nehisi Coates' run,
Oh yes,
right?
yes, yeah. No, that's the one they appear. I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, cause it's like I get you have the Wakanda show, but like you think you wanted to use them more in this film.
right. Yeah, introduce them like in the movie so that people are interested in the TV show.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of spin-offs they can just do besides Wakanda. Like you can do
Yeah.
like a Nikia, a Koi, Bill, Banku, yeah, blah, 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 yeah.
Hmm.
and then Baiku spin-off, and then a Wakanda show. That's like four spin-offs you could do. You know, and it's like, oh my god, it's just I like have like I like the MCU has underutilized some of their characters, but I never seen a film like this where you just underutilize a lot of your characters, you know.
Hmm.
But I get they had a lot to do, and I just very just I was very shocked about that. So that's my like major complaint and negative about this film. It's just the underutilized of characters you like or got introduced within the MCU with the Disney Plus shows like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I was just shocked. So and speaking of Black Panther, it was no surprise that Shuri became Black Panther.
Hmm.
Like I wanted to bring that up because I know beforehand people were kind of questioning like who's going to be the next Black Panther. I mean, it was always Sherry, like
Yeah.
Sherry. Yeah,
Yeah. She always made the most sense.
yeah. Well, and I mean, if you know your comics, like
Right.
yeah, she became one in the comics, so
Hmm.
it just makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
So um, the question is like, did you bought her becoming Black Panther? You know, in this film, do you think that they actually put the legwork for her development? Will
Yeah. I
okay,
think they did. I don't know. I think they could have done more.
yeah,
Like, I liked Shuri's development in the movie, but I could have spent more time on it, more or just like more time on her like inner conflict. Um,
yeah,
which like to be fair, like a lot of the movie was about that, but I just it felt like that should have been like most of what the movie was about, and instead there were all those other side plots.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah, and she did a good job carrying the film, but
Yes.
yeah, I will say she did a good job carrying the film, and I mean she was there, so and
Hmm.
she was there 100%, which is good.
Hmm.
Um, and I will say, unlike the other like like female taking a mantle of the male character, this one was the better ones. I would say. Um, you know, this was way better than the was it the lady the mighty Thor in Love and Thunder because at
Yeah.
least we saw more of her transformation than Jane.
Yeah.
So
Um,
yeah, so
yeah. Oh, well, Love and Thunder got a lot wrong,
yeah, I
but
mean yeah, it did get on, but yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah, I
so
wouldn't put that on Jane Foster as a character,
yeah, no,
but that was all takeaway TV.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But I think this was the better one. It was just handled like very slowly
yeah,
and
it was a better movie, so that helped.
no, that's true. That's true. I mean, I actually laugh hard this time than Love and Thunder. Like I don't know what I was seeing in Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Um, I guess let's get into the big credit scene. That's like
Hmm.
the last major thing and surprise we got. Um, I so like we get some like I say we get pick up where Nakia left. So in the film, we get discovered that she didn't went to T'Challa's funeral and all that. She hasn't been in Wakanda for 5 years in this timeline, right?
Hmm.
And of course, she's been very helpful in the film, and I really like her talking to Shuri and trying to open up with her, because she was a love interest and lover of T'Challa,
Hmm.
and I really like all that, and I definitely think she helped Sherry go to the right path,
Hmm.
with her conversations. So and then with towards the end, Sherry goes to Haiti and meet her up, and then we get the surprise that she had a kid. We got the child's son here, and um, I was expecting a child, so
Yeah, no, it's a surprise for sure.
yeah, so I just think this is a good position to have another male Black Panther slayer in the future. So,
Hmm.
and I really dug the the name. Like I really like the name. Like she named Chakala, right?
It's
The
T'Challa.
father's. It's just like the same name, the brother,
Yeah.
right? Because at first
Well,
I was kind of confused because I thought it was the father.
nah,
And okay,
it's T'Challa Junior basically.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. So, it was sweet. The kid was funny. I like
Hmm.
her. I like the kid's interaction with with the aunt, or aunt or grandma. How you go
Yeah,
Sherry?
it's his aunt. Yeah.
Yeah, and okay, aunt. And I was very happy to hear that the queen actually know the kid before her
Right.
death.
Hmm.
So I was like very happy about that, and
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah, I was. I mean, it's kind of what you expect if you have a situation with a character die, or like you do a legacy sequel
Hmm.
to a franchise. Like this is always the thing to do. It's like, oh, we need like you need a kid. Like Indiana Jones has a kid, and
Is yeah.
Superman Returns has a kid.
Hmm.
So it's the traditional trope, but this one was much better.
Yep.
So yeah. So but yeah, before that scene, like Sherry, like Wright's performance there was so heartbreaking when she burned her white funeral wardrobe that she
Hmm.
hasn't done, where the queen did it in Wakanda in the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
And I think it was so hard to watch her started to cry and looking back on T'Challa with
Hmm.
the images. Like, oh my god, that killed me. I don't know if that made you cry.
Yeah.
I
No, it was.
it was, oh my god, so
Mhm.
teary eye. So, oh my god, that was so hard for me to watch. That it's just like, oh god,
Yeah.
it's just so sad. Um, yeah. So, is there anything else to say about Black Panther Wakanda Forever? Will
Um, I
I
guess
mean,
I'm just really excited for more from Namor.
yes.
Oh, we didn't talk about. They changed the origin of his name.
Oh
That
yes,
was so good.
yes. We didn't mention that. Yeah. Yeah. I love that they say a more eternal, like no, a more eternal. Like, oh my god, I really dug that. This is the best change, like the best name after Miss Marvel, or this tops Miss Marvel name. Uh, in terms of changing it and making it unique.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, that was very impressive, and yeah, oh god, that was great, and the flashback was good too. I would
Hmm.
say
Yeah.
that that was so good. So and I really like um where we left him. Like he knows now that the Wakanda will probably rely like will isolate them
Yep.
when if the US attacked them. Like I really appreciate that scene, and like
Hmm.
so I'm really excited where we're gonna take everything to the third Black Panther or whatever we're gonna see these characters again. So
Yeah.
um yeah, so I think everything what they did here was just great. Um, I and then let's have this discussion. Do you think that Newmore is the best villain? Do you think this beat Killmonger, or did you just think Killmonger is still the best for the MCU in terms of Black
Um,
Panther?
I think I personally preferred Namor,
Mm,
but
okay.
I could definitely see why like someone else might prefer Killmonger. Like they're both really good.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
I get it's not as grounded as Killmonger. You know, like
hmm
the situations with the first film.
hmm
I'm trying to think. I'm looking at my list. I will say this tops Kilgrave for me. So Namor is going to be my number three in terms of favorite MCU villain.
Okay.
I don't think I think I like the character. I think he's definitely top three, five villain for the MCU. But he
hmm
doesn't be for me, and just in my list of Wan Wu and Killmonger. I feel like those two just perfect for me in terms of villain.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
just nothing wrong with Namor. It's just I think there was just a little hiccups with um his you know agenda and just what we're doing with it until we got a clear image of it towards
Mm.
the second and third half.
Okay.
So it's just me, but it does one thing that I was very impressive. Which they sort of did the was it Mysterio thing. They put off a very great comic accurate villain, but also updating it into modern times so
hmm
well. So that was very impressive.
hmm
Like we've been gushing how the wings are great. Like he's wearing his green trousers, which I thought they were gonna shy from that, but they didn't, which I
hmm
loved. And yeah, and I love the new background history and just mythos about this character and his people, which is good
Yeah.
moving forward. And just to wrap things up, I if how I can rank this in terms of my Phase Four um ranking, I'll put this as number two. I my number one is Shang-Chi.
hmm
This and then third I will put One Division. Four, Loki, and then five I put Spider-Man No Way Home. So that's how
Okay.
I rank my Phase Four
Yeah. That's
list.
definitely my top five. I don't know what the order
Yeah,
would be
uh,
necessarily, but definitely the
yeah.
same top five.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. Oh my god, I can't believe it. We're done with Phase Four. Will. It's
And
just it's
that was
just
fast.
yeah, 2 years of content. Yeah. So to wrap things off, thank you, Will, for joining me for
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
yeah, this was a blast to talk about Wakanda Forever. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited to talk about this. And this was a good end. To Phase Four, like it actually follow, like it pick up a lot of the themes we like about One Division, about grief, and then you know, accepting love and all that. Like it followed up some of the themes that we discussed in One Division. So it was neat that they like it conveniently had those themes, just like One Division when it began in Phase Four.
hmm
So yeah. So but yeah. But so our next podcast will be the Guardians of the Galaxy special that's coming out
Right.
this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wednesday. Right.
yeah, Wednesday.
Or Thursday? No, Wednesday, because they wouldn't release it on
Yeah, is it
Thanksgiving.
Wednesday? What? I thought it was in the 29th. Oh my
Maybe it
god.
is. I don't know.
Um, yeah, uh, uh we'll see. Because that's gonna be
I
a
can look it up.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 2 weeks, and I don't know if because that's gonna be short because I don't know how like tie in that's gonna be for the third film for next May.
Right. It's probably
So
just a a fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's gonna be like Werewolf by Night, right? Like 54 minutes, something like that.
yeah, 44 minutes.
Yeah. So, um, to um prepare for next podcast, let's discuss that. But also, I guess to have a look back on Phase Four in general, and it's like what we like and what we didn't like.
Hmm.
So you don't mind we can do that after we're done with the discussion of Guardians special.
Yeah, sounds
Okay.
good.
All right. So thank you, everyone. Me and Will will be back for in 2 weeks for another spectacular podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this Marvel Plus talk on Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And have a good week, and see you guys soon.